In this video, I'm going to show you how to add some additional components to the structure that we've already started that has the crawl space. So as you can see, I'm between column lines 4 and 6. So what we'll be adding in the next few steps, one will be some columns that are going to be supporting a beam. A beam will run across this structure right here. From the midpoint of this wall all the way across. It will be divided up into sections of beam, but we'll draw it as one continuous one for the time being. And then we'll also add columns to support that beam. In older residential architecture, it's really common to see in the basement level these solid wood members supporting the first floor. So they're going to be typically made out of large pieces of solid wood. But in more contemporary architecture, we're using more manufactured wood products, in part because they're stronger for the same amount of area, but also because they can better make use of wood materials. If you need a really long span, you might want to go to a steel beam to support those floor members that are above. But if it's a more reasonable size beam, you may choose an alternative product. Again, the span is the distance between one column and either the foundation wall or another column. So again, if you need to have a big space between the columns, you might consider using a steel beam for this. So the first thing I'm going to bring in is a column that will be used to support the beam. So I need to go to Insert and load Autodesk Family. And if you type in column under the search bar and you look for steel, so maybe you'll see this when you type this in. I'm going to click on steel here, and I will go to the second one, the 15.0 AISC. And scrolling down, I'm going to look for a square column. This is it right here. And I'll click on load. Now, the column size that I'd like to use is a 4x4. So it's going to start off with the really big ones. These are 22-inch square tubes. And so I'll scroll down and I'm going to look for 4x4 by 3/16, this one right here. And I'm going to click on OK. And now I'm going to go to level 0. So this is my level that's below the first floor level. And this is where I'm going to bring in this column. So I will go to Structure, Column, and you should see that this column that I brought in, or that you brought in, will appear. And I'm going to go ahead and click at this grid intersection. And it's going to ask me for a second point because I could do it at an angle, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to click the same point. Okay, now it looks like it was rotated. So let me redo it. Take that out. Column. Okay, I think I got it right. This time I deleted it and I put it in correctly. It should be perpendicular to the column grid. Now, I know it's not at the proper heights that I need. I'm going to go take a look at my section. And you can see it's dropped that footing down too low. So we need to make some changes to this. First thing I'm going to do is make my base offset 3 feet, 4 inches. Okay, so now it's at the proper height at the bottom. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move the top. We're going to have this beam that's coming across here. And so I need to lower it. So my top offset, which is relative to level 1, which is here, I'm going to drop that to minus 2 feet, 2.625, which is the same as 5/8, and apply that. Okay, this gives me some space to place that beam, which will be the next step after I make one small change. After looking at the spanning parameters for that beam, it's like a more efficient beam would be where it's not quite as long. This is a 20-foot span in this direction. So I'm actually going to move this column over, and I'm going to add a second one. So there'll be 2 columns supporting a beam that crosses here, and that beam will be broken into pieces, but basically they will stop over the columns. So what I'm going to do is go to level 0, and I'm going to take this one here, make a window, and I'm going to move it over by 7 feet. And then I'm going to make a copy of that one and move it and make that copy 14 feet over. So let's go back to that section. Section 1, there are the 2 columns. And here they are from the 3D view. And that's all that's needed for this part of the Revit assignment.